everyone. Welcome to In My Toolbox, your weekly talk show for your personal finance here at PHLV Radio. Of course, the goal in this show is to give you financial information that you may be able to use on your day-to-day financial decisions. We will unbox topics that will hopefully aid you and guide you and maybe even add to your financial tools. We will tackle important information mostly not taught in school and is much needed to empower you and everyone else. As usual, in any idea that will transpire in this show, always consult with your financial advisors, insurance professionals, or tax consultants. My name again is Enrico Pobre, your host, sales, marketing, and trainer, an economist, an entrepreneur, and a financial professional. Of course, if you have questions, ask them away on the chat box, or you will be listening to this show later on. You can please feel free to connect with me through Facebook page In My Toolbox. Connect with me via Instagram or LinkedIn, or simply Google my name, Enrico Pobre, and you can find me there, right? Or email me at enrico.inmytoolbox@gmail.com. All right, guys. So magandang gabi again sa lahat po ng ating mga tagapakinig. The show will not be as exciting as it should be without resource speakers that will work us through about our topic for tonight. You know, to help us tonight, I have two respectable gentlemen in the industry, and of course, they're doing a great job in helping the community as well. First off, he is the CEO of the Fulmer Insurance Group and is mentoring me about healthcare industry, particularly Medicare, Mr. Arnie Fulmer. Awesome. Welcome to the show, Mr. Arnie. Awesome. Okay, and of course, let me introduce to you the CEO of Smart Buy Insurance Incorporated here in Las Vegas, Nevada. A very dynamic and handsome person, Mr. Alberto Ochoa. Awesome. Welcome to the show, sir. You might want to say hi to everybody.
Hello.
All right,
I don't know
guys.
about the handsome part, but thank you. Yeah, we're on a delay.
You know, so that's very good. And gentlemen, I thank you so much for being on the show today. You know, Medicare 101 is one of those topics that I think that is that we need to really dive down and convert it into a layman's term that everybody needs to understand. Medicare, probably, people will say, I know that already, but I don't think so, really, right? So we have probably a good time today to discuss with them what Medicare is. So let's probably just start up on the question, what is Medicare? Probably Arnie or Alberto, you know, you can let's just define what Medicare is it's all about.
Okay. You want me to go first, Alberto?
Well, you know, what we could do here is I'll just kind of get into a little bit of you know, what is Medicare, the history, and if you want, you can get into a little bit more of the details, like the Part A and the Part B and the Part C. Does that work for you?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
let's do it.
All right. Fantastic. Well, so, you know, sometime in the 1940s, the 1950s, we saw what is considered to be now the greatest population of Americans being born, and those are, of course, referred to as the baby boomers. Sometime around 1965, the government looked at the people that were going to be aging one day 65, and they said, well, how are we going to take care of these people? And they said, well, let's go ahead and start a program called Medicare. So they started Medicare in 1965, giving Medicare benefits to everybody that's turning 65. The difference was that back in 1965, the average age was to 58 years old.
Okay.
So most people didn't make it to Medicare. So come 2003, and now we're in a place, in a space where more people are using Medicare than they're actually paying into Medicare.
Wow.
So as we get into that, there's the need for all these other programs to get started. But Medicare, in its essence, what it provides what is called Part A and Part B, which is hospital and medical services too, which is Part B. Now, people who are turning 65 or people that are under the age of 65 that are disabled qualify for Medicare. And what we do as Medicare agents is that we help them navigate those turbulent and very confusing waters of how to choose a plan. Part B, which is the medical part of the health insurance, comes with a co-insurance of 20%. So we help them cover that 20% so that those unexpected costs go away, and they're more in a system of co-payments and in a more predictable payment. Because as you know, as we age a little bit more, we want things to be more predictable, right? We want to have less stress on our hands. We want to make sure that things are a little bit more, predictable, and that we know what to expect. And so what we do is we offer what is called Part C or Medicare Advantage. But there's other things that come with Medicare that are more complicated. And none other than my friend Arnie Fulmer, and one of my mentors. I think I should let him explain it a little bit more, because he's a guy that brought me into this business and helped me understand a little bit more. But not only that, he actually has Medicare, so he understands it a little bit better than I do.
Perfect.
So if you have any questions for me, we'll go. If not, we'll keep rock and rolling.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that, Alberto. What I love about what you said, it's not about the age. Arnie just happens to know a lot about Medicare. It's not because the age that he is our mentor. He's mentoring me too. But you were mentioning about the complication and the overwhelming world of Medicare, and I really understand that. Well, I'm so sorry. That's something that's not making me understand because of the complication of the Medicare environment. It's really, really, really very, overwhelming. And you were talking about Medicare Part A, Part B, Part C, Part D. Arnie, what's the difference of all of this Part A, B, C, and D? Probably you can give a light on that.
Yeah, well, as a senior, we have a different perspective on things. I guess that's why we're not good looking anymore.
There
right?
you go, Alberto. That's the reason why I was trying to evade the word senior there. Since you brought it up, go ahead, sir.
Arnie is the youngest 65-year-old that I know, though, the youngest looking one. So.
There you go. I second the motion. Go ahead, Arnie.
So what we can do here, I'm sorry, I don't think I have as strong a signal as Alberto here. I'm, again, in a hotel on vacation.
You're good.
Here's the way this works, okay? When you work 40 quarters or 10 years in the United States, you qualify for Part A. Okay. And Part A is the hospital and anything to do with inpatient in the hospital. Generally, that's not going to cost you anything except if you haven't worked the 10 years or 40 quarters in the United States. Now, there's one caveat to that, which people need to understand. And I know in a Filipino culture or some of the ethnic cultures, the husbands work and the wives don't. Mm-hmm. So one strong point that you want to know is that if the husband worked the 40 quarters and the wife turns 65, she doesn't have the quarter, she can now piggyback off of her husband's Part A and Part B.
That's nice.
So a little bit of knowledge that would be helpful. A lot of folks don't understand that. So Part A is the hospital, inpatient. Part B is the doctor, outpatient. Now, there's a lot more to it than that, but I want to just keep it simple. Those two things together are called original Medicare.
Okay.
Or another term is called, private fee for service. There's a couple different things that you'll hear when we talk about that, but that's original Medicare. Original Medicare is designed to cover 80%. So for an example, if we had a stent put in our heart and we're just on Part A and Part B, that's $100,000 surgery. Medicare covers 80,000 of that, and you're responsible for 20.
Wow.
That's why there's other options that are out there on the marketplace. Not only are you responsible for 20%, but there's deductibles another $1,500, $1,800 worth. So the question that I generally will ask someone is if that were to happen to you tomorrow, how would you handle that $21,800? And most people, if they're on a fixed income, it's a challenge for them to do that.
That's right.
So the folks need to understand, you really need to understand Medicare. That's why it's important when you're sitting down with somebody that understands this. Not somebody who's sitting there to sell you, somebody who's here to lay out the basic Medicare and then lay out the options for you. So it gives you flexibility. It's not about one product fits all. A husband and a wife can look at could be two entirely different products.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's what they call original Medicare. Now, from there are two options available. One's called a Medicare supplement, or a lot of us seniors call that a Medigap program. Sorry, I'm not used to talking so slow. I'm trying to, my brain doesn't work as slow, but and this philosophy, a Medicare supplement, there from the letter A to the letter N, there's several different products that are out there. The G plan today is the most popular. Here's what this means. If I'm looking at a Medicare supplement, I can go to any doctor anywhere who accepts original Medicare. Okay, that's 99.4% of all the doctors. Great value proposition. If I'm a snowbird, if I live in Bend, Elbow, Mississippi for 6 months and then live in California for 6 months, these are programs that they're going to look at. They give you a great value. And the challenge with that is with seniors on fixed incomes, like Alberto, he's on a fixed income. Just kidding, of course.
I'm on a fixed income because my wife puts me on a.
Oh, there you go. The wife actually
Right,
states the
right,
fixed
right.
income. This is how much you earned.
So if you're on a fixed income, these products, depending on your age, are going to run you $120, $130, $140 a month. Plus, one has to pick up a prescription drug plan called Part D. Okay, so a lot of times that's going to cost you $150 to $250 a month. A lot of folks on fixed income can't afford that.
That's right.
Okay, but that option gives you the greatest flexibility. Option number 2 is really called Medicare Advantage. We can't really talk about that too much on the radio here, but I will tell you they're the most popular plans that are here well, it depends on the state. Most states, there's a 35 to 40% penetration rate on those, right, Alberto? 35 to 40%?
Yeah, we're looking countrywide at a penetration of about 38, 37%. So, but it's trending to a higher penetration because it just makes sense for everybody. It makes sense for the insurance companies. It makes sense for the person, for the recipient, for the person who's on Medicare, and it makes sense to the industry as a whole, because the whole goal of Part C Medicare Advantage is to keep people as healthy as possible, as long as possible.
Awesome. And let me just interject there, Sir Arnie. I hope I understand it, and just for the benefit of the listeners. So you're saying that Part A and Part B, this is what you call the traditional Medicare or the original Medicare, that, people can, when they turn 65, they already have this inpatient and they also have this outpatient. But the thing here, that when you mentioned 80%, this is how much the Medicare will be participating on the cost of whatever that inpatient or outpatient, but the 20% will be covered by the person, and this 20% will be coming out of pocket, and this 20%, like your example of $100,000. Therefore, they're going to pay $20,000, which for a fixed income person, it's impossible, or they might not have that $20,000. Now, you were talking about Medigap, which is a supplement to cover the expenses or possible out of pocket by the person. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Perfect. Now, just
That's
to
correct.
dive down onto the second thing that Alberto said, there's this Medicare Advantage. So is this Medicare Advantage the same as the Medicare supplement? What's the difference?
No.
Okay.
And seniors call everything a supplement, and that's really not the true point. So the Medigap is, you have original Medicare, which is from, as a Medicare product, and then added to that from private industry, AARP, Mutual of Omaha, Aetna, all these companies sell it privately to individuals, okay? And the price varies. And it's a great point that you brought it up. What the seniors need to understand with this is you could have one company that has a G plan at $120 and one company has a plan at $400. And it's exactly the same because they're standardized in the industry.
Oh.
So the point that they should know, or they should take away from this, is if you're dealing with Medicare, the most important decision you're going to make, you really need to know what the options are and where the value proposition is for you a good bulk of the agents are there to sell a product, not there to help guide you through the system. So the point is, make sure that you find somebody that can give you different options that create value for whatever you're looking for. Okay? And there's big differences from one company to the next.
Perfect.
Even though the product is the same, it's exactly the same. The only difference is cost and customer service.
Perfect. So, Sir Arnie, you were saying, you were saying that all of this Medigap or Medicare supplement, guys, I would want you to understand that Medigap and Medicare supplements are the same. Okay, so Sir Alberto, Arnie was just mentioning the Medigap or Medicare supplement from A to, I don't know what letter that is, from A to go more, you know. How do these people, because Arnie mentioned they are all the same by probably provided by law. Is that the reason why? Is that how it is, Sir Albert? All of these Medicare supplements are the same but different pricing from different company. Is that how it is?
Yeah, essentially that's what it is. So the one key differentiator here is the price. But every plan is structured the same way.
Oh.
And, you know, there's all the way, I mean, we're looking probably 6 or 7 different plans, and they're all letter types. As Arnie mentioned, the most popular one is a G plan, which covers pretty much the 20%. The only thing that it doesn't cover is the Part B premium, which I believe is $190 something or $230, right?
$233.
$233 now. That's right.
This year.
So that's the only thing that it doesn't cover, but it covers pretty much everything else. So it all depends on the same one, but they're all structured the same way. They all do the same way. Like every plan G will cover the same exact amount. It's just one might be one company and the other one might be a different company, and there might be different prices. Other than that, they're the same.
Well, probably this is the way I will look at it, the way you guys are explaining it. So, guys, what I would want you to understand, in Medicare, Part A and Part B, it doesn't cover 100% of what you actually need for outpatient and inpatient. There will be some percentage that you will be participating on. On this Medicare or Medigap or Medicare supplements, these are a different product that you can purchase outside Medicare that can answer what your participation is going to be. Now, the Medicare or Medigap that we are mentioning from A to G, you know, every company is going to give the same benefits, but every company has its different prices. I hope I got it right.
You got it. Absolutely.
Awesome. Perfect.
You couldn't have explained it better.
Now, you know, that's what's funny, right? If I go to a car dealership, I'm going to buy Toyota Corolla 2022, and I go to another dealership on the other side of the street, the same Toyota Corolla 2022, one is priced $19,000 and the other is priced $25,000. Guys, you have to do your own due diligence. Look for the cheaper one with the same product, right?
That's right.
You got it.
And Enrico, that's why we stress more than anything is finding a professional to speak with, getting the advice from a licensed Medicare agent that can really dive into some of these intricacies of Medicare. You know, myself and I'm sure Arnie too, we've walked into households where we get a pile of bills this big. And it's people telling us, hey, I thought I had Medicare. Why am I paying $1,000 here? Why am I paying $500 here?
Wow.
Why am I paying $600 here? And it turns out that they just got the Medicare, the original Medicare from the federal government, and they never did anything. They never spoke to a professional that guided them to go through to a MedSup or a Medicare Advantage plan. So now they're stuck on Part A and Part B, the original Medicare. They're paying this 20% without knowing. And they're in bad shape. By the time we get there, sometimes it's more about doing damage control than it is about doing other things. So if I could stress anything, you know, Medicare is like one of these milestones in life. It's like turning 18. It's like buying your first house. It's like buying, you know, it's like getting married, right?
That is right.
If you buy a house, you want to talk to a professional. If you turn Medicare and you want to see your options, you want to talk to a professional, because if you don't, you're going to get lost. It's a lot of things that go on. And not only that, you're dealing with retirement, you're dealing with getting off of your employer coverage.
That's right.
And now you have to get onto Medicare, and it makes things very, very difficult. So it makes sense to talk to a professional that can flesh out all of these details and help you find the best plan available for you.
Well, this is exactly what I always tell my clients, Alberto. You may find out by yourself, but by the time that you find out yourself, you're already 80 years old.
Yeah,
So
that's right. That's right. And broke.
Exactly, and broke. Yeah, so that's very scary. In fact, when you guys were talking to us about the Medicare and the things that we don't know about it, because it's really overwhelming. Things that we need to know about Medicare. Number one, you're so right, Alberto, that we need to get the services of the Medicare agents who knows it really. Otherwise, I remember myself when I was studying Medicare, I call it Medicare. Because it's really
That's
scary. People who are retiring thought that, I'm covered because I'm actually under Medicare. But what they don't know, if you don't do it correctly, it's a nightmare. It's a Medicare, So thank you so much for that, Alberto and Arnie. At least we covered the Medicare supplement or the Medigap, which will actually answer the gaps of the Medicare product or the Medicare program. Now, you guys mentioned a little bit a while ago the Medicare Advantage. So this is different from Medicare Supplement or Medigap, and then we have this Medicare Advantage. Probably Arnie or Alberto, what's Medicare Advantage all about?
Before you go any further, I want to add one thing. Alberto touched on this earlier, and I think it's extremely important.
Okay.
You don't have to be 65 to be on Medicare.
Oh.
Okay. If you've been on Social Security disability for 24 months, you'll automatically get your Part A and Part B. Nobody understands what that means, right? They can qualify now for a Medicare Advantage plan in the state. So you could be 20 years old on Social Security disability and qualify for a Medicare Advantage plan. Two other things I just want to address here. Okay, number one, it's very important to understand that there's a lot of options out there. What Alberto was talking about earlier is 1/3 of the seniors today, 1/3 of them qualify for our original Medicare Part A and Part B, right?
Yeah.
And then there's another 33% out there that have Part A, Part B, and qualify for a thing called extra help. Extra help, what that essentially does is pays their Part B premium.
Oh.
Okay, pays that Part B premium and lowers their drug costs. But it also gives one other major advantage. It allows them not to have to qualify if they registered late because they didn't know what was going on.
Yes.
There's a lot of penalties that are out there that are
that's right.
imposed by the federal government. What it does is allows you to bypass those things, and they don't exist because you qualify under the threshold. And what I mean the threshold, I think it's 1151 this year. If they're between 1151 and I'm not sure the top number, I think it's 1350 something this year. If they fall in that gap, I don't have the exact numbers, Alberto. I don't know if you do. I just looked at them yesterday. If they fall in that gap, there's a good chance they qualify for extra help as long as they have less than $9,000 in cash and resources in the bank. So that's a major point that a professional will be one of the first things that they're going to ask you.
Yeah.
Where's your income level? What's your drugs look like? Let's take a look at some of that stuff before I can make and offer potential solutions or give you options on today's market. Right, Alberto? You want to add to that?
No, absolutely. And again, what Arnie's referring to, are things that us as agents are very knowledgeable at, right? I mean, we don't only talk about, when people meet with us, we don't only talk with them about their Medicare Advantage plan, or we don't talk to them about their options. We actually walk them through the process of sometimes even getting their Part A and Part B.
Oh.
Because sometimes they're lost. They don't understand what to do.
That's
now,
right.
Imagine a situation, somebody who's already over the age of 65, right? And they're still working. Well, what do? Right?
That's right.
if they're getting work coverage and they've never had Part A or Part B, well, they would have had Part A because you get Part A automatically when you turn 65. But you can actually bypass Part B until your credible coverage at your work ends. So if you're 68 and you decide to retire, you could then add the Part B, so you're not paying for the Part B for the 3 years that you've had your work coverage.
That's right.
So these are all things that come into play that are very important that people like Arnie and myself can answer. Now, guys, I am so sorry. I already had something planned out. I'm actually running a little behind, but I'm going to leave you with Arnie here. You're in great hands. Like I said, he's the one that taught me the business. So I wanted to thank you for giving me the opportunity to come on board. And please include me next time you do one of these. I'm actually in Reno right now in the middle of this weird weather. And I had a meeting for 3 o'clock already scheduled. So I definitely apologize.
No worries.
But I'll be back and I'll be back on your show. I'd love to come back in the near future.
We'll do that, Alberto. Thank you so much, guys. That's Alberto, our good friend from Smart Buy Insurance Incorporated. We'll be back after this short message, and definitely we'll tackle more about Medicare 101 with Mr. Arnie Fulmer. Thank you so much. We'll be right back. Alright, ito na naman po kami ang aming pagbabalik po. No, we were talking about Medicare 101 a little bit. We were with Alberto Ochoa. And of course, I'm still here with my good friend, Mr. Arnie Fulmer of Fulmer, an insurance company here in Las Vegas, and a very good resource speaker. And actually, he's the person who is mentoring me with regard to Medicare. So welcome back to the show again, Mr. Arnie, and thank you so much for still being here with us today. So Arnie, we were talking about the just to tell everybody with regard to the Medicare 101, we're talking about Part A and Part B and how Medicare supplement or Medicare Medigap plays into the role of those gaps with Medicare. And we also mentioned another one, which is Medicare Advantage. So probably you can give us a light on that, Mr. Arnie, on what is Medicare Advantage. Oh, just 1 second, sir. I think we are on mute. I apologize for that. But yeah, this is a very exciting topic today, guys, just to give you more information about, Medicare, the basic of Medicare as we speak. So go ahead, Mr. Arnie. What is Medicare Advantage?
Medicare Advantage is true Medicare. So essentially it's combined, set up by the Center of Medicare and Medicaid called CMS. This particular piece is very, very popular around the country because the costs in a lot of cases are significantly less I can't even get into some of the other things. That's very, very popular piece that's out there. What they do is they usually include Part A. Well, they always include Part A, which is hospital inpatient, Part B, doctor outpatient, prescription drugs in most cases. There are some plans that don't include that, generally for most of the VA folks. And it's called Part C, or also called Medicare Advantage. Now, these particular programs are very popular, and there's a wide variety of things that fit different options for different people's needs. When I started here I'm in the Las Vegas market. When I started here in the Vegas market, it was, 3 products. Very, very easy to show here's your few choices. Now there's 8 or 9 different companies are out there. Most of them have 6 or 7 different pieces. So it can be complex. So that's why what we do is we help people navigate a very, very complex system called Medicare.
Okay.
Okay. So Medicare Advantage plans include a lot. They include a lot of goodies. And again, unfortunately, I can't talk about this on the radio, but they include a ton of stuff that you'd like. But there are significant differences. There are pieces that are out there designed for people who are on full Medicaid, under $1,151 this year. If they're on Medicaid, they've got a plan designed with a lot of goodies. Now, I don't know any seniors that like goodies. Do you, Enrico?
Oh my God!
You're too young to understand that, right?
No.
But they're loaded with goodies and loaded with options. Now, most of these plans are designed for particular areas. So, for example, like Clark County or Nye County are included in most of the plans that are out there today. If you move, then you'll have to look for other plans in other markets.
Oh,
but that's a big option for anybody moving into. I know we have a mass movement from California in here.
Oh, there is.
If they're moving over there and they're on a couple of those programs here, we have programs that are similar. If they're on Medicaid or they're on Medi-Cal in California, Medicaid, you still have to apply for Medicaid here, which is much different. If you're a senior, if you weren't a senior, you're on a health plan, Medicaid, and then come over here and try to get on a senior Medicaid, there's 2 different criteria. So these are things that the average agents aren't savvy with. And that's why one has to be careful. They jump in because the plans look so rich. And again, I wish I could tell your audience what that is, but I can't from a compliance standpoint. But
exactly,
they're so rich in opportunity for them. I can tell you this: I have a mom who's 88 years old, has been on a plan for 10 years now.
Okay.
Her out of pocket expenses in those 10 years is less than $100.
Wow,
it's healthy. So that's what I mean when I talk about rich. I'm talking about products that give you great value for your thing, and that's why it's important. Talk to Enrique, and Alberto's phenomenal, by the way.
Yes.
He dominates the whole Hispanic market out here. He's a great leader. He's a leader of the business model that we're in. But this is important for them to understand. There's a tremendous amount of options. If a salesperson comes in from one of the big companies, Humana, Aetna, them, and that's all they market, they're there to sell you a product. If you're talking to a broker, they work for you, and here's your options.
Perfect.
And that's, I think if there's any takeaway for your audience today, is that they need to understand what their options are. Just because a plan looks really, really good to you, make sure that you, at least they open up CMS and show you some of the plans that are in the area that are a little bit different, because I'm going to tell you there are significant differences from one plan to the other. And I'm not talking about the prices. I'm talking one could pay for insulin, one cannot pay for insulin. There's all sorts of things that are out there on the marketplace that it's not really easy. And that's why you need somebody to help you navigate. That's why we work hard teaching the man behind the mic.
That's actually true, Arnie. Thank you so much for reiterating that. Medicare itself is very complicated, that we need financial professionals to guide us. And this is also true, since you mentioned this one, Arnie, there are average financial professionals, even though they're licensed, they're still having a hard time understanding this. Can you imagine the complexity of Medicare? In fact, today we're just talking about Medicare 101, and just by listening to it, I know you guys are, okay, where am I at right now? So let me just give you a little bit overview there. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Arnie. So we were talking about Medicare Plan B, Plan C, Plan D. So Medicare A is what you call the inpatient, the hospital. Plan B is the outpatient, which is the doctors. Plan C is what you call Medicare. Plan C is your Medicare Advantage, and Plan D is your drug prescription. Am I right, sir?
That's right, and they're all in almost all plans. They're covered. There are plans that are set up for the VA that, because they go down to the base to get their prescription drugs, there's plans designed for them without the drug plan. But
Yeah.
95% of the plans have all those included: Part A, Part B, Part D, and they call it Part C or Medicare Advantage. One thing I want to add, when they listen to the TV and they see all these folks like Joe Namath and them on there,
Yeah.
by the way, a lot of that is capturing your information. And they're looking for folks who are on low income called extra help.
Okay.
And Joe Namath, the program that he had on TV there for a couple of years, he's talking about one little location in South Miami. Not here, which our plans are very, very rich here. So I just want people, don't get confused. Grab a broker that knows what he's talking about, and you need to rely on him to help you navigate.
Options.
Makes sense? It's all about options. It's
Exactly.
not about the agent looking to make a sale. If it is, you've got the wrong person. You need somebody who's holding a conversation, somebody who is helping you
Navigate.
see what your options are. And that's why
right.
we teach folks to understand that stuff, which is what I've been doing for the last 8 years, is teaching agents.
Yeah.
That's why I'm in 17 states right now. So Enrico's your man.
Thank you so much for that, Arnie. You know, the answer to this question may be easy. It may be easy to say, but maybe not as easy to do. Okay, so this is my question, Sir Arnie. How do somebody know what type or what is the right Medicare coverage for them?
Well, they have to trust their gut. Most of them are not going to know. They're going to see 000 or something crazy like that, and they're going to see on a plan and make that choice. You know, I'll tell you, here's what I would ask. Here's what I would ask every agent or every client to ask their agent.
Okay.
Ask them what skilled nursing means. Okay. Now, let me explain this.
Okay.
On some of the plans, they'll say Medicare says day 1 through 20. Skilled is 0. Okay. Now, here's what I would do if they were asked me, if they went through this. Well, what does skilled mean? Okay. Why is skilled important? So here's what skilled nursing means. You need to understand this as a consumer. Okay. Skilled nursing, because I'm a skilled nursing facility, doesn't mean everything's skilled. It means I still have to foot some of that cost, right?
Yeah.
Skilled nursing, if I'm all wired up and I'm sitting there in a bed, skilled nursing means I need somebody 24/7. Okay. That's skilled, number one. But what happens if I'm rehabbing? Let's just say I have hip surgery and I'm doing physical therapy in that skilled nursing facility. And the doctor comes in on the 14th day and says, "Hey, Enrico, you're doing a great job. I'm basically going to cut your physical therapy back from 5 days to 3 days. Now, what did he just do? I know all these seniors have this Medicare and you look and don't look at it, but what he just did is he changed the language of Medicare from skilled to intermediate care. And within intermediate care, Enrico, who do you think pays the rest of that bill?
Them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So 400. It's about 400, maybe a little bit more than $400 a day, depending on the facility that they're in. How many seniors on a fixed income can afford
$400
that extra cost?
All right. Yeah.
So it's a question that I would ask an agent if they sat down. If they can't explain it that way to you, my educated guess, it's not their fault. It's just that they're not trained very well.
That's right.
And you know, one little thing I want to put, I'm trained by somebody who did nothing but Medicare for 50 years. I wrote all this stuff down, memorized it, and taught it. And some of these things, I'm going to tell you, here's a scary situation for your folks. I've talked to a couple folks that are trainers, that have been trainers in this market, and they said, "Wow, can you teach me that stuff? I don't know it." I did it to a sales manager down in New Mexico, which is where I've got a team down there, and also, and he said, "I don't know any of that stuff. Can you teach me?" And what he did is he taught that stuff to his son, and his son helps people. 7 out of 10 people that he sits down and talks to, helps them with additional products that they actually need, that they don't really know even how to ask for. So I hope that answered. It was a long answer to a question, but see in your Medicare and You guide, if there's something highlighted in blue, and you don't understand that, you need to talk to your agent.
Exactly.
Because nobody else is going to help you. They're reading zero. I'm not saying. Can't say that. Okay. They're reading or looking at a script that they don't fully understand. And if they don't fully understand that, then you could be in trouble. For an example,
it's going to cost you.
Here's the other thing. Answer this. If you had cancer, okay, your cancer coverage is covered under Part B, which means you pay 20%. Medicare only pays 80%. So for an example, if we had to have chemotherapy, it's about $2,400 a service. And most of these plans pay 20%, right? Wow. It's $480. What is my maximum out of pocket on my plan? If it's $1,000, for an example, I only have to go through 2 chemotherapies.
And you're done.
And then the rest of my program is going to be $0.
That's right.
But if it's $5,000, I have to go through the full thing. Cancer plans are, the question I would ask anyone is, who do you have a cancer plan with? And most people don't even know they exist. And really, depending on age, you get $10,000 for, $30, $35, whatever.
Exactly.
The point is, it's not to sell. The point is that you need to understand what those choices are that go along with the language of Medicare and tie into your process. If you have an agent that's just going through and reading the script for you, that's what they're doing. They're reading because everything's laid out right in the booklet. If they're doing that, are they really doing you justice is a question you want to ask yourself. It's about what's the value and what's important to me.
That's right.
And the prescription drugs need to be the most important thing. Most people think it's the doctor. It's not. But understanding the value that Medicare gives you and what your exposure points really are more important than any of this. You don't know this until you get into that position. I know as a senior with an 88-year-old mom, you need to understand some of the dynamics to be. So I hope that answered your question.
Of course, yeah, you did, Arnie. In fact, that is very important for people to understand. And thank you so much for the examples that you put in there. That's very, very important for us to know. We're talking about value. We're talking also about cost. Let's just take one step backward, Arnie, about how much does Medicare cost? I've been in the industry too for a while. People turning 65, they didn't even know that they thought that, when they talk about Medicare, I'm covered. They didn't even know that there is some other dollar amount that they still have to pay to Medicare. So how much does Medicare cost, Arnie?
Well, right now, if you're not qualified for extra help, which means you're making less than, and again, I don't have the exact number, it's 13 something or 14 something. This year, if you don't have a thing called extra help, then you're entitled to pay for Part B. This year, Part B is $170.10. A couple things that they need to know: they don't automatically get Part A, all right, unless they're collecting Social Security. If they're collecting Social Security, okay, then they'll automatically get Part A and Part B, usually 90 days before they turn 65.
Yeah.
Okay. Medicare starts the first day of that birthday month, unless their birthday is on the first of the month, and that's the previous year. All right. So Part B, you don't need until you come off of group insurance. But excuse me, you do need to take a look at that, because sometimes Medicare's options are much better. So to answer your question, right now, if they're not on extra help, it's going to cost them $170.10. If they're collecting Social Security, it'll come right out of Social Security. If they're not, they have to pay it quarterly, 3 months at a time.
3 months at a time. Okay. So basically what you're saying there, Arnie, on Part A, if you're not collecting Social Security, you have to pay that 170 plus. Okay. But if you're collecting Social Security, that's taken out automatically from your Social Security. That's right. Correct. That's for Part A.
You have to pay 3 months. You have to pay 3 months.
Yeah,
if you're not collecting Social Security yet, because at our age group, we're at 66 in 7 months or 67. It depends on when you're turning 65. Mine's 66 in 4 months.
Okay.
I don't collect Social Security yet. So, but my point is, yes, if you're collecting Social Security, it comes out of your Social Security. If you're not collecting Social Security,
you have to pay it
3 months.
3 months.
Okay.
Okay. Very good. I love that. So now with regard to Part B, if you are still working, Meaning, guys, that you have credible coverage, health insurance using
Correct.
your work. You don't have to elect Part B, okay? But sometimes, just like what Arnie said, it might be a good idea too to take the Part B. It can come out better plan than your than your credible coverage with your employer. But once you get off that plan through employer, now you can actually take that Part B. Now, question, Arnie, is it free?
Is Part B free? I'm
Yeah.
sorry. What's the
Yeah.
question?
Is Part B free?
No, Part B, you're going to pay 107. This year, you're going to pay $170.10.
Oh, that's the 170 that she's talking about.
That's your
There you
Part
go.
B. That's your Part B premium.
Perfect.
I think it's going to go down. They rushed it because of an Alzheimer's drug. I know you folks don't need to understand that, but I understand it's on the table to move it back by 15%, which I hope they do. It took a huge jump from $148.50 to $170.10 this year. It goes up every year, by the way.
Okay. Actually, that goes to our. We answered a little bit of the next question. Really, what do I do about Medicare if I work past 65? So that's actually the answer. You get the Part A, and then if you're still working, you can still get the credible coverage through your employer. But sometimes you will want to check it out again. Probably Medicare can Part B can offer you better than what you have as a credible coverage through your employer.
And they want to talk to you about that 2 or 3 months before they turn 65 to help them, so they see where the value is. Sometimes if the employer's plan is too much, you may want to come off it. But unless you have your wife or children on that, right? So you need to understand that when talk to a broker before you make a decision on that, because if you are going to come off of group insurance, it's important that you do it 30 days ahead of time, so that when you come off, Medicare Advantage plans start on the first day of the month, and they both sync, so that you do not have a lapse in your medical coverage.
A continuation.
When does everybody get hurt or sick? When they have a lapse.
Perfect. So, that's right. And Ernie, I have a question here about dental and vision. Does Medicare cover it?
Medicare, no. That's a broad term.
Yeah.
Medicare doesn't cover it. Medicare Advantage plans, depending on the state that you're in. I don't know where you're national. I don't know where your audience is, but most of these plans have. They're finding out that seniors need dental. And depending on the market that you're in, dental plans are on there, vision plans are generally on there. And you want to shop that too. So there's some big differences. There could be some significant differences on there.
Okay. So again, it's very important, mga kaibigan, napaka-importante na we talk to our financial professionals, because Medicare is it's not as simple as the word Medicare. It is a very complicated world that you would need an assistance from financial professionals. And also, Arnie, is a Medicare mandatory?
Well, if you don't want to get penalized. Well, if you're on credible coverage, they don't have to get it. Well, once you come off of credible coverage, which is group insurance, then essentially what you have to do is you've got to jump on this.
Yeah.
And, you have generally, once you come off group coverage, you have 63 days to jump on a prescription drug plan, or 60 days. You want to definitely get in the plan. The penalties work this way. After that 60-day period, you're charged 1% of the national average of prescription drug plans for the rest of your life. My mom pays $45 a month.
Wow.
Okay? If you don't pick up Part B, Part B is charged at a 10% rate for every 12-month period. So that could add up to significant amount.
That's
the
a lot
only
of money,
caveat here, if you're on Medicaid or you're on the thing that I talked about earlier called extra help, then essentially you will sidestep those penalties.
Okay. Very good. Thank you so much for those clarification, Arnie. Probably a few more questions before we finalize our show today. I know we've been talking about Medicare, and it's just, guys, this is just 101 we're talking about. Can you imagine how complicated the topic is, right? Now, I have another question here. What's the difference between Medicare Advantage HMO and PPO?
Great question. Okay. HMOs are going to be, from a cost value, a great value. But an HMO is a network. You have to stay within the network of doctors. Okay. So my primary care doctor refers me to my specialist, refers me to pretty much everybody that's in the network. So an HMO, you have to stay in the network. If you go out of the network, you pay full cost. Okay. So very important that you understand that. HMO is a box, you stay in that box. PPO, preferred provider, you have more flexibility, but you also have greater costs. So with a PPO, you still have a network, which is going to give you the greatest value or the lowest cost if you stay in there, but you do not need a referral. Now, on some of the HMOs today, it's evolving very quickly. A couple of the HMOs, you don't need a referral, but the bulk of them today, you still do. That may change in the future, but in the PPOs, you don't need a referral. You don't need to select a doctor. But if you stay in their doctor network, there's a great value proposition to you. If you move out, depending on the company you're with, it could be a $30 of the Medicare cost or a $40 cost, which would be much higher. So it sounds like an advantage, but you can't measure those costs. So a lot of times if you turn at 65, PPOs are a good value, depending on how healthy you are. But a lot of times that Medicare supplement program, which is going to cost you more, gives you greater flexibility. And now you know what your cost is for the year. So again, these are options that you need to understand before you make the decision. They're going to cover you. They're going to give you just a tremendous value, but it's also going to come out at a much higher cost.
There you go, guys.
Generally, people with money, Enrico, people who have money, I want a supplement. I don't want to look at any of these other things. So I think I just want them to understand HMO is the network. I have to stay in there to have it paid. PPO is out of network with higher costs. Sometimes the plans are still rich depending on your market you're in, but you're always going to pay for specialists and everything else, where you won't, in some markets, you won't have to pay as much. But if you go outside the market, then you're usually paying anywhere from 30 to 40%, depending on the plan that you're in.
Perfect. In fact, what Arnie was telling us about on that HMO and PPO of Medicare Advantage. I hope you still remember in the early part of this program, we were talking about Part A and Part B, and there are some things that we are going to pay on, which is your participation into that situation. And to answer that participation, we use Medigap or Medicare supplement to answer those gap in Medicare. Now here, the Medicare Advantage is another way to address that. And this Medicare Advantage is what you call HMO and PPO. Now, HMO and PPO, these are the doctors that, of course, will take care of you. You already have your health plan. So who's going to be executing that health plan for me? So you need doctors, right? So HMO, just like what Arnie was saying, if you have a box, these are the group of doctors that you need to only use because that's in network. It's inside the box. PPO is still the same concept, but you can still go out and look for other doctors outside of that network. Did I say it right, Arnie?
You say it better than I do. Hey, one caveat, and I know we have a lot of Filipinas there on your network who like to travel home. Mm-hmm. So I want to tell there is an exception to this rule.
Oh, okay.
The exception is if there's an emergency. Okay, anywhere in the world.
Oh,
basically,
that's good to know.
Medicare Advantage will cover all that. Now, Medicare supplements vary in price and how much they'll cover. But if I'm in the Philippines, and I know a lot of them are over there 2 to 3 months because a lot of my agents are from the Philippines, they'll go over there for a couple of months. If I have a heart attack or stroke, if I have a real emergency, I go to the hospital. In the Philippines, you have to pay for it up front. But you pay for it, you bring that back, and what you do is you send it into your main carrier, and the carrier will offset, in a lot of cases, all the costs. Some of them have a maximum out of pocket, but some of them cover everything, as long as it's medically necessary.
Oh, okay.
So
medical.
That's the key word you have to understand.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. Arnie, you're so right, because Filipinos really travel back to the Philippines, and that's one of the questions too. If I'm the Philippines, can I use my Medicare health plan? So emergencies only. So guys, you have to take note of that. Absolutely, that's okay. Oh, by the way, you mentioned a little while ago, Arnie, about Medicaid. So we were talking about Medicare, and now I heard you mentioning about Medicaid. Is there a difference between Medicare and Medicaid?
Well, they're two entirely different things. So Medicaid generally picks up a lot of most of the costs of anything we do, right? So if I'm making less than 1,051 in a course of a year, if I'm single, and again, I don't have all the numbers because they've come out and I haven't looked at all the numbers. I have them on a chart and I'm on vacation. So, but generally, Medicaid people are making less than 1,051 a month. Medicaid allows you to go to pretty much any doctor that you want. And the doctors will say, this is all you really need. But it's not, because folks that are making less than 1,051, especially with rent and the price of gas and all those things today, they're living on the edge, right?
Yeah.
So the Medicare Advantage, there's Medicare Advantage plans called D-SNPs, okay? And they're designed for the Medicaid people. And those D-SNPs, man, if you need dental or you need glasses or you need over-the-counter stuff, they are loaded with stuff. And what it does is it works in reverse now. Medicare pays first, and then Medicaid acts as a supplement that offsets those costs. It doesn't change your drug costs. It doesn't change a lot of different things as long as we're on, on a senior Medicaid program. It gives you more flexibility and a lot more, I like to say this, goodies. Okay, people love goodies.
I love goodies.
I can talk about this stuff. I can't. There's a tremendous amount of goodies that are in there, and there's a value proposition for them to take a look at that.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that clarification again, Arnie. Guys, time really flew so fast. Arnie, if they would want to get in touch with you, how can these people get in touch with you?
Well, they could call you. You're the master. They can reach me at 702-820-3133. Okay. And it rings right to my cell. I'm a little bit different than most, even though a lot of times I'll get 30, 40 calls a day, sometimes 70 or 80 calls a day.
I know.
Just leave a quick message on there. I'll get back to you, because sometimes that's a Google line, and the Google line goes to my cell, and sometimes it's delayed, and I can't see what's on there until I put you as a potential client. They can call me regardless. I'll help anybody.
Yes.
And that's the name of the game. I'm in it for those folks. As a senior, you need to understand that, Enrico. It's about them. It's not about the sale anymore. We don't care about that stuff.
That's right.
We want to help as many people. And why? It's good faith. They'll help you and they'll refer you, because it's just the way of law reciprocity works, So I'm here to help. If they have any questions, please don't hesitate to give me a call. Enrico, you can put my Arnie at FulmerInsuranceGroup.com. You can give them email. A lot of people are more comfortable email, or you can text me. I'll get back to you. Sometimes it takes me 15 or 20 minutes to get back, but generally, I don't tell you I'll call you back in 24 hours unless you're on a plane flying to Benjarobo, Mississippi, or somewhere out there. So that's a joke. I think you got that. That's good. Just let me know if they need any help, or just reach out to you. You can reach out to me. I'll help you.
Perfect.
No problem.
I know when you say you're going to be helping these people, because I'm one of those people that you've helped as well, Arnie, with regard to understanding more about Medicare. And definitely, I thank you for being our resource speaker here at In My Toolbox. So mga kaibigan, ganyan lang po ang ating ginagawa rito. No? We're just getting the right people to give us the right information. And today, Medicare 101 is, we have to really understand it. 101 pa lang po pinag-uusapan natin, the complication of just one part of Medicare. It already took us an hour just to go over just the surface of it, right? So thank you so much for that. Again, Arnie, one thing that I got out of this conversation today is you guys have to give your due diligence, talk to the right people and understand first before you get into it, and give time. Really sit down and learn Medicare 101. Again, Arnie, before we end the show, any parting words with regard to Medicare?
No, just thank you for allowing me to be on there. Just remember, folks, it's important that you get somebody who understands and can help you navigate this very complex system called Medicare. And I'm telling you, it's important. Otherwise, you'll be going through plans and you'll be ticked off at agents. Just remember, most of these agents work a year or two in the business and they're gone. So make sure that you make good choices with them. Just because they're a friend doesn't necessarily mean they know what they're talking about. I know, because I've had people end up leaving and going to people and end up coming back because their agent is just in it for a few quick dollars. So I'll help anybody that needs help. Have them send me an email, again, at Arnie, ARNIE, at Fulmer, FULMER, insurancegroup.com, or reach out to Enrique. I'll be more than happy to help you folks either way. Thank
Perfect. You. Awesome, mga kaibigan. Ayan na naman po ang isang episode ng ating In My Toolbox. Ngayon po, pinag-usapan po natin ang Medicare 101. Bam! Ayan na naman po tayo sa susunod po next Thursday at 8 p.m. Magandang gabi! Awesome!